The following is a presentation of the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.
Despite a tumultuous start to their season, the Louisville Cardinals are riding high in conference play and just sit one game behind first-place Virginia. Today, the Cardinals look to keep pace in the ACC race with rejuvenated Boston College and their dynamic backcourt duo coming to town. It's BC and Louisville. It's now on the ACC Network.
It's warming up outside the Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. And here in the Commonwealth today, ACC basketball coming your way as we bring you inside the KFC Yum Center with Deng Adel warming up for the Cardinals. He'll match up against one of the great guard tandems in college basketball, led by Jerome Robinson. In essence, 22-plus points per game. Hi again, everyone. Tim Brando, and by my side, a former member of Lethal Weapon 3, Brian Oliver. Good to be with you for the first time, my friend.
Good to be with you too, Tim.
Listen, let's begin with our innovative play, which is brought to you by Progressive Insurance, and it highlights the play of Ray Spalding, who's been lights out.
And Ray Spalding has been a guy that has phenomenal set of skills. He can put the ball on the floor. Normally he wants to get the ball on the post, and when he's not able to do that, he can drift out, put the ball on the floor, and take his defender into the lane for a nice finish. He's also a guy that can shoot the ball from outside. He does an awful lot of things, especially out of that pick and roll, where a lot of times he'll set that pick and roll, and then he allows himself to be able to go to the rim where he finishes above the rim like no one else in the league.
This is a Louisville team that is playing at a high level. Just beat Florida State after rebounding for the loss to North Carolina against second place, you heard me right, second place Louisville in the ACC. The tip is next.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Food Lion, raising standards without raising prices. How refreshing. By New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life. By Coyote Tractor. And by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
One of the truly fantastic facilities in all of college basketball, the Yum Center. As you look at our Food Lion starting lineups, Bowman and Robinson are just two of the best in the collegiate game in the backcourt. They'll look for some help up front. This is not a deep team. Snyder, who just reached the 1,000-point club and was honored before the game. Quentin Snyder, along with B.J. King, in that backcourt. But it's been Spalding and Adele that have been devastating of late on the low block, and a true advantage for Louisville in terms of size and depth as we're underway. The officials for today's game, Michael Stevens, Clarence Armstrong, and Tim Clockerty. Happy to have you with us. Jordan Chapman giving it up. Kraljevic inside, trying to get position, but can't. And the shot clock dwindling down now. Robinson up against it, decides to take a straight line drive. Gives it up late, and right at the buzzer on the clock, it falls short from Kai Bowman.
Good defensive possession from Louisville. You'll see at the end of the shot clock. They're going to do a lot of switching between their guards and bigs and try to force the BC guards to make a play at the rim.
Coming off a really bounce-back victory against Florida State, BC. They were pounded by North Carolina. They've been tough in just about every road game they've played. As you see Spalding, that nice little jump hook on the left baseline, and it's 2-0 Cards.
And that's one of the things that Louisville's going to do. They're going to try to establish Ray Spalding, take advantage of that matchup between him and Popovich early.
These two guards, both combo guards, share the ball and also score about as well as any two that you could see. But you can see there's very little help coming their way, and the clock is winding down on them again. Up against the clock yet again, but rattled home by Kai Bowman, and that's what the Super Soft from Havelock, North Carolina, right there on the water, as they say, right there in that beautiful area of North Carolina. Gets it to go, and it's 3-2.
One of the things that Louisville has to worry about is getting back in transition, because that's where Boston College wants to take advantage of the opportunity to see Quentin Snyder come up with that steal.
Numbers decides to take it himself. senior from Ballard High School from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. They love him. From time to time, you'll hear the crowd chant Q, Q. That's for Quentin. Popovich setting that pick and roll, and he goes right down into it and then short arms it in front of Adele. Malik Williams works inside and is bothered that time by Jerome Robinson. Snyder again negotiates. Can't get it to go, and Popovich clears it. That was a carry. Ty Bowman got that one caught on his shin, couldn't help himself.
Well, Tim, what we talked about is one of the things that Boston College does a really good job of is knocking down that three, and that's an instance where really good defense by Louisville, but then one of the things, too, is that Louisville has to be able to get out in transition, put the pressure on those guards to make them get back, being able to capitalize on the turnovers.
Adele off the bounce. Not there. Popovich again clears. Great block out by BCC. They're not deep. They can't go to their bench that often in their front court, and the back court is their strength, but they are fundamentally sound. Jim Christian's team really does block out well. All the little things Boston College does well. As you look at David Pageant, what a remarkable job he's done taking over in what had to be a frenetic summer for him. The much documented and chronicled issues for Rick Pitino that led to his exit. But this program has really bought in, and in talking with him before the game, and I know you were at yesterday's practice, he seems mature well beyond his years. He's not quite 33 years of age yet, not that far removed from playing here for Coach Pitino and being on his staff, but boy, has he acquitted himself nicely.
And he's been able to make that transition from going assistant coach, kind of big brother, to being the father figure as a coach. And I think it has shown in the last few weeks how he's been able to put this stamp on his team and how well they're playing for him.
Well, he's assembled a marvelous staff and did so in a hurried fashion, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Here's VJ King going crossover. Malik Williams. That's that length of Louisville, which will help them on 50-50 balls. King right back at you. Fouled and still can't get the bunny to go in, but he'll get to the free throw line.
Louisville tops in the conference in offensive rebounding, and this is what they do with that length. Talking about them being able to send guys to the offensive glass. It's one of the things that Boston College has to do a better job of being able to limit them to one and done.
Nick Popovich got the foul. And VJ at the free throw line. Now, you talk about fitting into a role vacated by Donovan Mitchell. The help of Quentin Snyder as a point. VJ has done a tremendous job. And speaking of great jobs, Jim Christian, the head coach at BC, now in his fourth year, really beginning to get a reputation for an offense that's efficient and a team that, while it may miss some pieces, as we said, is fundamentally sound in just about every way.
Well, Tim, also, this is a team that was 2-16 in the conference, already surpassing that at 3-3. So expectations definitely has been set, and he's done a remarkable job.
They are one road win away, really, from being quite historic. If they can get a road victory in the ACC and up it to 4-3, they already have the signature win at home against, at the time, #1 Duke. Robinson fading away. And the long rebound taken by Snyder, leaving it for VJ King for three. Again, Louisville's advantage on the glass and on a recycle. Nice pass. King to the wide open Ray Spalding.
And that's where the length of Louisville gets you, because they're not shooting the ball remarkably well, but they're crashing the boards, giving themselves an opportunity. And that's where you see a Ray Spalding being able to finish and knock it down at the end.
Robinson from up top. That one goes crying off the front iron, and Spalding clears for the Cardinals. Again, outstanding passing, and King on the reversal misses a layup. There have been a couple of them from point-blank range that Louisville's not been able to knock down.
When you see the oohs and ahs every time you see the guys going to the basket, fans definitely into this game early.
Well, these guys in the backcourt will make you ooh and ah as well. If you're back in Boston. Not to be from deep that time for Popovich, but a steal. Poor pass that time, and it's picked off.
He'll load up from any time at any moment. I mean, you watch these guards. Bowman and Robinson will throw it up from just about anywhere on the floor.
And that's the strength of this Boston College team, is the fact that they can shoot the ball from out. As you see, Malik Williams knock down that three. A much improved three-point shooter. He'll take that shot when they give it to him.
Cardinals lead by 6. 5.5 minutes gone by. 7-0 run. Mitchell, beautiful ball fake for the open jumper, halfway down the cylinder and out. Lance Thomas into the game. There's Williams down low. Malik in traffic, doubled. And we got a tie ball. But the ball will stay down here on the alternating possession. Louisville will have it when we return. Early on, the length and size of the Cardinals on exhibit. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports in our 35th year of coverage of the ACC. And time now for our Carolina Ford keys to the game, Brian.
Well, Tim, for Boston College, you got to minimize the Cardinal runs. They want to get out and run in transition, get this crowd into it early. And for Louisville, transition defense. We talked about this Boston College team as a team that wants to throw up a lot of threes. Got to get back because they've got some guys and can definitely fill it up really quick.
And just watching this BC team, it does to some extent remind me a little bit of Lethal Weapon 3 when you guys were all together, Kenny and yourself and obviously Scott. This is obviously the different makeup, but how they blend together, realize when to share and when to dribble handoff and create open shots off of those high picks.
Well, we highlighted Robinson and obviously Bowman, but don't forget Chapman there. He's another guy that completes this threesome here. As you see Mitchell come up with that steal. They need some easier baskets because 5 of those 8 shots that they have come from the three-point line so far.
Yeah, they've been up against the shot clock on at least 3 different occasions in the opening 6+ minutes of the game.
And most of those shots have been contested. We talked about the fact that they're switching a lot on the bigs, and Louisville's bigs have done a really good job of being able to control those shots.
And once again into the passing lane is Perry. Great defensive work getting back there defensively by Luka Kraučević. He saved an alley-oop right there, the young man from Slovenia.
I think everyone in the building knew that Perry was going to go for that alley-oop. I think that he should have kept it maybe one more dribble to set up that lob.
Ryan McMahon has checked into the game, the sharpshooter from downtown, coming into the game for the Cardinals for Ray Spalding. It's a youngster from Sarasota, Florida that was a very late pickup by Rick Pitino, originally as a walk-on, and he can really shoot it. Mahmoud just into the game, and Anas can't get that hook shot to go. There's that high pick from Kraučević, which enables that drive to the basket and a foul.
When we talk about Kai Bowman being able to knock down those threes, and one of the things that he does really well is being able to get to the basket. You see that last time, being able to challenge Mahmoud, and he's not afraid of the contact, being able to absorb that contact and finish. This is one of the things that he's done better than last year, is being able to beat his man, get to the basket, and that puts them on alert because Mahmoud is one of the better shot blockers in the conference.
Bowman in that game with Florida State the other night, 19 points on 6 of 17 shooting, hit 3 of 7 from downtown, 5 assists to go with it. Did turn it over a few too many times, but Boston College was able to hold on, get the job done after the loss to North Carolina. King can't get that one to go, and here's Bowman, has it stripped from behind by Louisville. Back the other way, King off a poor pass from McMahon, and it's returned to Cinder.
Well, a lot of unforced turnovers and cold shooting from Louisville has allowed Boston College to stay in this game right now. You know, if you looked at the pace, you would think that everything favors Louisville, but you see Boston College only down by 3 right now.
Sometimes that attempt to get the magnificent play before the home crowd, particularly with young players, will get in the way, and we've seen some sloppy turnovers really by the Cardinals. Robinson gets the roll off the rim. And a quick timeout by the Cardinals. David Pageant not at all pleased with what he's seen thus far.
ACC's three-point challenge presented by Mellow Mushroom, and today we got Oliver. Let's see if his skill set was as good with this as it was in 1990 on that Final Four team. It looks like he's having a little bit of success. Don't get too pumped up. Oh, playing the nylon song from up top. Very nice. You are better, always better from the wing, though.
Where you see with the money ball.
Yeah, free download in your app store and you can play as your favorite ACC team. The Mellow Mushroom three-point challenge. See the field goal shooting story. Both teams struggling, and both teams have turned it over quite a bit. That's a foul. It'll go against Bowman on that dribble drive. By Dwayne Sutton.
One of the things I was keeping my eye out on is that the guard play for Boston College, how would they match up with the length of Louisville? Because what Louisville is committed to is a lot of...
Well, what Kraljevic did just there is it tells you how quick they've been to it. I mean, they came ready to go on the defensive end. Boston College has been very alert. And there's that length again coming into play. Mahmoud almost saved it to one of his friends. But to your point, and I understand it completely, Boston College has answered the challenge of the Louisville length to this point with their hustle on the defensive end.
When you see this last play, one of the things against a shot block, you want to go into his body. They've been able to do that 2 times previously. But a guy like Mahmoud has a great skill set of blocking shots. You want to not keep it away from his body. That last time allowed him to get that block.
Robinson trying to run Adele through some screens and get free. I would think he would have a quickness advantage if he could get the ball far from the basket here. And now he does have it against Adele. Looking for that straight line, and he uses that quick burst. Count it, and one. Spalding on the switch got caught in Adele's position, and that's exactly what Robinson did.
What we're talking about, the last time he got a shot blocked, he went away from his guy. You see right now, absorbing the contact. He is a guy that finishes well around the rim. He and Kai Bowman as well. Love the fact that BC has come out and they've been aggressive. Earlier on, they were settling for too many threes, I thought, and now they've gotten to the point where they're turning the corner and trying to get to the basket, having a little bit more success.
This is a 7-0 run for BC. By the way, Robinson, who does not get that one, does come away with the offensive rebound. And look at the hustle by Kraljevic here. It will go out off him and be Louisville's ball, but again, the quickness to the loose balls from Boston College have really, I think, evened out the issues that they have with Louisville in terms of matchup and length.
And when I'm talking to Jim Christian, he said those are the things that he needs from his team. Not only to shoot the ball, they need to get those 50-50 balls, get on the floor, get the hustle points.
Out of the timeout, McMahon stays in the game. Adele off the bounce. Missed everything. Sutton tries to go back up. Kraljevic in his way. Rejects him. And here comes Jerome Robinson and Bowman again. Great pass outside. And a delivery.
Well, all that was set up because you see the penetration from Robinson and Bowman. Defense has to pay attention to him. Doing great recognition, being to get the ball out to Mitchell, who's able to knock that 3 down.
Stephon Mitchell with his first 3. Adele on the wing. And I think Sutton is going to get tagged as he was out of bounds when he came away with the ball. So it belongs to Boston College.
Boston College doing a really good job of playing good defense and not settling, being able to kick out at 3. This is one of the things right now. The tide has kind of shifted a little bit because you've got Louisville setting for 3-point shots. Boston College opting to be able to use their penetration to get their offense going.
Bowman operating at the point. 14 straight games now with a 3-pointer for him. He had one a little earlier in the game. And he and Robinson have done what they need to do. There's Chapman working off that pick from Kraljevic. And a foul over the back against Boston College. That goes against Bowman. That's 2 on Kai. And what you'll notice a lot of times with Jim Christian, because of the depleted bench, he will ask his veteran guards to play through foul difficulty. Understand that the basketball IQ with both Bowman and Robinson is outstanding. That extra pass, yet another turnover, but a recovery. Well done that time by Dwayne Sutton, and it leads to a foul inside against BC. It goes against Luka Kraljevic.
Well, Tim, you talked about Kai Bowman. You look at those numbers, 8 rebounds and 7 for a guy that's, and he's playing ACC play, you're talking about 8 rebounds a game, and this is a guy that's 6 foot at best.
Yeah, 6'1" at best.
And one of the things that he does is that you will allow him to get to the boards and then get out in transition. But his numbers across the board have been staggering, not only in points, you talk about the assists and then also the rebound.
Well, he's the best really nationally among players that are 6'1" and under. And he had 13 rebounds in that game with Florida State. Think about that. I mean, that's right up there with some of the great guards in the history of the game that rebounded. Some of them, by the way, played at Louisville back in the day. You remember Lancaster Gordon and Milt Wagner, how well they got up and got rebounds as guards for Denny Crum?
Well, now you're talking about my area.
That's right.
Popovich, to score. And this is one of those things that having great guard players, you see McMahon is one of those guys that they want to definitely see get going. But right now, pace and the way this game is going, the rhythm is all in Boston College's favor because they've been able to get the shots that they want.
Well, a 5.5-minute scoring drought will really hurt you. There's a turnover committed by BC. Popovich picks it up, the foul, and it goes back the other way off that illegal pick. Second foul now on Nick. A great opportunity to talk with David Patchett. There's a tremendous game coming up on Tuesday between Duke and Wake Forest. But in chatting with him, I got to tell you, I was amazed. Here's a player, I called his games 10 years ago, like I called yours 25 years ago.
Thanks for dating me there.
Yeah. but he is so prepared for this opportunity, and I don't know that enough has been made of the job Padgett has done with this team. I mean, they're 14-4 and 4-1 in the league. And that was after being just annihilated by Kentucky earlier in the year. There's a dribble drive, nicely done off the window. Great job on that drive.
Jordan Orr is one of those guys that can put the ball on the floor, very athletic and long. You see the good finish. He's a guy that's been trying to scrap for some playing time because they have so much depth on that bench. He comes in right now, you see 5 points a game. He was a guy against Notre Dame that came and gave them a nice shot in the arm in that double overtime win on the road at Notre Dame.
Averaging 5 a game, 74% at the free throw line, an old-fashioned three-point play for him.
Oh, my.
How about that answer? With emphatic adjustment in the air by Jerome Robinson.
That's one of those moves that's had that 25-plus NBA scouts in the day that's drooling. That skill set you see.
Nora with a deep three.
Moore is one of those guys we talked about, can do a little bit of everything, can put the ball on the floor and knock down the three. Louisville being on a nice little run, being able to slow down Boston College's run early.
Well, it's gotten the building excited, that's for sure. Robinson turns it over. Mahmoud gets it into the hands of Adele. That one's off of the heel and does not go for Quentin Snyder. Just that quickly, Mitchell gets it up the floor. Did he walk? I think he did. So a rare turnover for BC. But boy, oh boy, Jerome Robinson playing high and mighty today on the road.
Going back to the Young Center where today has been Boston College. Their guards have been doing an exceptional job, led by Kai Bowman getting off early, being able to penetrate, knock down some threes. His cohort, also Jerome Robinson, he's done a phenomenal job as well, being able to not only knock down those threes, but create his own offense, being able to get to the basket and show off that skill set of being able to finish around the rim. And one of the reasons they're off to that 19-17 lead is the dynamic duo. You see the points, 18-16, ranking 3rd and 6th in the league. Those are impressive numbers that's allowed them to be able to get up to 3 impressive ACC victories.
Looking for yet another one on the road, which would be very significant. On court and holding serve on home court is huge in leagues like this one. Snyder can't get that one to go.
Well, Tim, this defense by Boston College's own has given Louisville a little bit of trouble. Louisville settling for outside shots, and then they've been limiting them to one and done. And right now, Louisville has to find another way to attack that zone.
Finn Baker Jr. is checked in during the timeout for the first time. They're trying to ease him into some playing time as a youngster who has a great ceiling for success, and if the name sounds familiar, it should. His dad had a remarkable career, as everyone knows. Nora, who came in and lit it up right away with 2 quick buckets, looks to penetrate again. Well, he found the lane in a heartbeat, didn't he? Quickly into the game, and 7 points for him, and we're tied at 19.
7 quick points from Nora, and he's a guy we talk about, the fact of being able to, you got to honor that jump shot, and it's 6'7", very explosive, being able to get to the basket.
Ray Spalding looks to come in on the next dead ball, and that's a foul on Dang Adele. That's 2 on Adele.
See that penetration by War. If you're a defensive player, you want to be able to force him to his offhand. Once he goes downhill, being able to finish. We talked about his length. This Louisville team has a lot of length and a lot of athleticism. They have not been shooting the ball as well from the perimeter, but any chance they can get to penetrate, they're good finishers at the rim.
Off the curl, Chapman. Just beautifully set up. He ran McMahon through a number of screens, got the open look.
Boston College is doing a really good job of being able to execute their offense. You see McMahon there, hasn't been able to get going.
Generally speaking, he's one of those guys needs to make one of his first 3 shots. Got a foul, a push against Nora. That's his first. And without question, if he doesn't hit those early threes, it's time to sit down, which is what happens after he misses his first 2.
And that's why he's on the floor, is the knockdown shots, and the majority of his shots come from three-point lane. You see the substitution. But going back to Boston College, one of the things that they've been able to execute their offense really well, you see a lot of the switching by Louisville. But Chapman is one of those guys that they definitely want to get going.
Not this time. Again, the loose ball comes down to BC. In traffic, tapped out. Mahmoud quickly gets it out to King. Big fellas are running. Spalding was ready for it. And the foul as King leans in to John Carlos Reyes, who picks up the foul. Well, time for our Coyote Tractors Player of the Week. We'll actually do that between shots. I beg your pardon. I jumped the gun on our producer, Alex Farmartino. Not the first time, won't be the last. Here it is. How about the play of Luke May? He has become one of the great walk-ons turned great player stories in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference. These are both career highs. What he did to Boston College, I was witness to along with Mike Jaminski. It's just amazing, and he had another double-double yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that against my Yellow Jackets, but he's been phenomenal because not only has he been one of the better players in his first half of ACC, he's been really efficient earlier on, too.
By the way, David Pageant, who, of course, played here at Louisville, was originally signed by Roy Williams at Kansas before he went to North Carolina. Nora, a good pass to King on the wing. And another outstanding rebound by the guard, Kai Bowman. Lightning fast to the rim, this 6'1" guard. Another drive. Mahmoud certainly affected that shot by Stefan Mitchell. Nora again. He's well above his average. He's doubled it.
And Warren has put his stamp on this first half. He's coming out and giving Louisville a big boost in their own. We talked about someone that need to give us some offense, and he's definitely been that guy, being to go inside out.
He's got 11 coming into the game, averaging 5.
When we talk about Louisville, what you want to do to get rolling is you want to play really good defense, and you see McMahon being able to come up with that block. And then when you get out in transition, you have to be able to capitalize. Snyder being able to find War over there for that knockdown 3. These are the things we talk about Louisville that gets them rolling because they want to be able to use that defense instead of their offense. Definitely being able to do that now.
When you've got that kind of depth, and Louisville still does within this program, and you can turn to a guy like Nora who has lit this building up since coming in, that's a huge factor because the points can come from almost anywhere. You know the rebounds and second chance opportunities are going to be with you because of your great size and your quickness.
Well, Tim, one of the things by having really good shot blocking is that you can put more pressure force those guys to the rim, get those shot blocks, and then you're out and running.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that David Padgett wants this group to do is play really good defense, force them to drive, make a play at the rim, and then let's get out and let's get running.
Jordan Nora has been the story since coming into the game, no doubt about that. And the Cardinals lead by 3. A lot of deflections down here and altered shots as well. Chapman can't connect. Ken Baker Jr. comes away with the long rebound. This is where they've had some success, when they've gotten the straight line drives to the basket. Once the floor is spread, or a pull-up like that, Bowman shot just off of the front iron this time.
Can't underestimate length, and that's one of the things that when Louisville, they switch their bigs on those guards, that forces them into doing those shots, and E.J. King not able to finish around the rim.
You can see the potential in Baker. He just needs to get older quickly, get a little stronger. Chapman, there's that dribble driver we're talking about. And at the very least, you induce a foul, if nothing else. We've got a timeout, 3:47 remaining, opening half.
Tim, we've got a good game going, and one of the guys that's been excited this first half is Jordan Nora. He's come off the bench and be able to give Louisville a punch in the arm with his offense from inside and outside. He's done it in a variety of ways, knocking down jump shots, and the thing is most impressive, being able to use that length and athleticism to finish around the rim. And he's a guy that's been come up and been able to knock down shots. He has been perfect from the field. 4 for 4, 11 points. If you're David Padgett, this is a guy you definitely want to make sure you give him some looks, because he's been phenomenal in early going.
He came into the game, it was 17-11 Boston College at the 9:06 mark. And you see what's happened since. He's not quite been in 6 minutes. And they've turned the tables on both ends, really. And he's responsible for the resurgence.
And what's been a relatively low-scoring first half, he's been the guy, like I said, that came in and gave him that instant offense, because Louisville has been struggling against that zone from Boston College.
Well, if you think about it, they got McMahon in pretty quickly, too, so there was no doubt that Padgett was looking to find an offensive spark, perhaps thinking McMahon would deliver. Instead, it's been Nora, and he's done it both inside as well as out. Plus, his passing ability from the wing has been outstanding. This time he launches from the wing. That's the first miss, and it was just off the heel. It was right on target.
And what I'd like to see is if Louisville do a better job inside out. As you see James Robinson throwing that pass over to you, understanding that you're a great three-point shooter.
Only against zones, and slow zones at that. He was anticipating a move from Bowman that wasn't there. Those two guys really know one another very well and sense where the other will be on the floor. That time, a little miscommunication. There you see the turnover story and points off so far today. Snyder with a head always up. He can score, but he can also find someone underneath. And that time a turnover by Jordan.
Well, we talked about the fact that Louisville's having some problems with this zone, but Boston College has gotten them starting their offense so far out. One of the ways to beat that zone is attack it in the middle. I think Louisville being just settling for all those three-point long jump shots.
Well, Boston College is forcing Louisville to play the BC way. They're accustomed to starting far from the basket and then driving like that. And Robinson is fouled yet again. He's probably upset with himself that he didn't get the hoop and the harm from Spalding. But Ray does pick up the foul.
And that's one of the things that he's done. He hasn't settled for that jump shot once he see the big switch out on him, opting to be able to get past them. That last time, blowing to the basket, we've seen him be able to create his own offense, and that's some of the things that Boston College has done. With Jim Christian, he says he doesn't want his guys to settle for the three-point shot.
Well, coming up on Hardy's halftime report, we'll head around the ACC for news and notes at the conference and preview the second half of our ACC Network doubleheader. That's all coming your way. The highlights and stats as well on the Hardy's halftime report. Jim Christian, now his fourth year, has a quality staff put together. Did a tremendous job at Kent State. Was a two-time MAC Coach of the Year before making his way to BC. Knew that it would be a difficult task to get the program back up to speed. He's done that. His team is looking for a much-needed road win to get to above 500 in one of the toughest conferences in America.
I remember talking to him last year, and he said that for him, being able to get his guys in here, get them acclimated, and he's got some really good recruits.
He really does.
Obviously, and Bowman, and then Robinson, and then you talk about Ben Baker Jr. I think Chapman has been that guy that's been a pleasant surprise that's given that other shot in the arm.
That time, Robinson knew where Bowman was, and that was almost the exact play that led to the turnover a moment ago. You see the end result once he drove to the basket and threw to a spot.
Well, you have to honor the penetration by Robinson. You've got the defenders coming over in great recognition, knowing where his guy is going to be, and that's one of the things that's made that duo so good earlier on in the season.
Shot clock down to 5. Snyder goes crossover. Can't get it to go, but a nice follow inside. Beautifully done by Dwayne Sutton, the sophomore from right here in Louisville, transferred over from UNC Asheville.
Sutton doing a really good job being able to finalize that basket by following the penetration of Snyder. A lot of times you want to follow that guy going to the basket because there's no one boxing out.
Robinson, a little stop and go. Got past Malik Williams.
And this is one of the things we talked about. Louisville is going to switch that pick and roll. Robinson being able to see the opportunity to get past, and he's done that all in the first half, being able to blow past the defenders once they switch out on him.
Malik Williams from downtown, and he drains the tray. Malik is now 10 of 34 from downtown after that bucket. He does have the range and won't stop shooting. Tied at 29 as the seconds wind down here in the opening half. Bowman on the switch against Williams, settles for the 3. And I think we got a foul inside. We'll go back the other way.
We talked about Jerome Robinson and his ability to get to the basket. You see this last time, drawing 2 defenders, knowing where his Bowman is, and then the last time realizing that he can get to the basket. And this has been the early success that Boston College has had because Robinson has not settled. You see right now, Robinson and Bowman combined 19 of their 29 points. The rest of the team, 10 points.
Groucho got that foul using his body against Nora. It was his second foul and the 6th team, or 7th team, which meant we had 1-and-1 coming over this way, and Nora gives Louisville the lead. To go this deep into the game and just at this very moment with only seconds left get into the bonus. Crowd responds to the play of Jordan Nora, and he certainly earned their respect today. He changed the complexion of the game for the moment he got in. They were down by 6 with 9 minutes to play, and they, 1 point, got ahead by as many as 6.
Boston College, you want to take your time, go into the half, at least this game tied or up by 1.
Well, it certainly helps to have these 2 to help get you there in a final possession. Another deflection by Louisville, out of bounds with 1.6 to play. B.J. King knocked that one away.
Well, from Louisville, I would say that you want to double team Robinson any chance you get. Force him to make that pass and make someone that make the shot because he's done a really good job in the first half being able to get where he wants.
He's got to go up at the buzzer. It was right on line for Bowman, too. The Cardinals lead it by 2 at the break. 31-29. The Hardy's halftime report is just around the corner. As advertised, as we get our ACC Sunday underway.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. By Hardee's. By Progressive Insurance. And by Mellow Mushroom, out of this world pizza. ACC basketball is being brought to you by Geico, saving people money for over 75 years. By Gatorade, win from within. By your Carolina Ford dealers. And by Bojangles, it's bow time.
The doctors of dunk, Dr. Duncan Stein. Remember those wonderful days of Penny Crumb's era? Never Nervous Purvis, of course, with the 86 title, the 1980 National Championship to Darrell Griffith and company. We were discussing some of the greatest games that we ever witnessed. And I must tell you that, for me, some of the greatest games, if you have a top 10, probably half of them include Louisville.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was in the Final Four with Houston, with the Doctors of Dunk in '83 and that great semifinal game before NC State and Jimmy V won it all, or that maybe it was that Louisville-Kentucky matchup that finally happened when the Governor John Brown wore both Cardinal colors and the big blue of Kentucky. Just an amazing run of tradition-rich games in the sport of college basketball that Louisville's been part of. Along with Brian Oliver, Tim Brando, happy to have you with us. Second half just underway. Right away, Louisville gets the turnover they need with that length yet again. Adele in the open floor, dishing it. A hoop and some harm. Nice work by Malik Williams, running the floor along with Dang Adele.
And Tim, coming out of the locker room, first 5 minutes is what you want to do to turn up. And Louisville being able to get that deflection, they want to get out and run. We talked about their length and being able to finish at the rim. You see, Malik Williams has done a really good job for this team, coming out, knocking down some jumpers, and then being able to run the floor for that finished three-point play.
And the lead moves out to 5. By the way, in that first half, 15 bench points for Louisville, none for Boston College, and 11 of those 15 belonging to Jordan Nora, youngster, just a freshman from Vermont Academy out of Buffalo originally. And there's another three-point opportunity as once again Jerome Robinson finds that avenue to take it right to the 10, and he gets the foul from Malik Williams to go with it.
Well, it's seen that Jerome Robinson, when he sees the big switch, his eyes light up, understand that he can get to a spot. He's been able to break down the Louisville defenders all afternoon. You would think that David Patrick would make a different adjustment when he gets the ball, at least to tell him to force him more to the help. But right now, that's one of the things he's doing. You'd like to see Kai Bowman do the same thing and not settle for those threes.
Could not convert the old-fashioned three-point play. And the lead remains 3 for the Cardinals. Adele. To rotate over out of that zone that time, Robinson, and Dang knocked it down.
We talked about the adjustment coming out of the half for Louisville, and it was simply knock down shots. That's one of the things that they've got to do is knock down those shots against that zone, and then the interior opportunities will come.
Nice spin move in the lane by Bowman, everything but the finish. Williams pulls it down for Louisville.
Good defensive possession by Louisville. Again, with Bowman, you want to be able to force him to that offhand because he's not as explosive going to his left.
Great defensive work there by Mitchell. He's just now making it back up the floor on the offensive end. You better hurry. It's a return to sender for Williams, and he's fouled.
Always good when your big guy can get that deflection and go coast to coast. I know a lot of times coaches kind of cringe when you got your big guys leading the break. But Malik Williams, he's been that guy again that's giving them a quick shot in the arm. We love what he's doing on both ends of the floor.
Mitchell got the foul, his second. Frustrating part, you'd think, for Jim Christian and BC. They're doing really what you're supposed to do in every respect, but there's no substitute for the number of deflections, if not steals, that you might get. And Louisville is going to out-deflect and out-steal as a result most teams they play.
And what they've been able to do in the first half that allowed them to stay in the game, they got away from that. Coming into the second half, not good shots, and you get those deflections. That plays into Louisville's hands because that was one of the things we talked about is that they have to be able to withstand those mini Louisville runs.
38-31, Cardinals by 7. Robinson, great move. He knows right where his friend is. Everything but the finish there. Bowman had it off the heel. Here's Adele the other way. And they're going to get a block.
that last basketball play by Jordan Robinson was the right play because he was able to get to the basket, and just a good shot that didn't go down by Kai Bowman. And one of the things that they had to do a better job of was getting down in transition, because this is what Louisville wants to do. You see this last play, obviously a block by Jordan Chapman because he didn't have his feet set. But we talked about that Louisville, as you see Daniel Dale missed the front of that 2 shots. You want to create some easy offense because they struggled in the first half.
Chapman with his first. See the numbers that have accrued over time. Daniel Dale has just gotten better and better over time here at Louisville. Progression of the talent here has always been outstanding. 39-31. Robinson trying to get past Williams. That's quite a roadblock. Again, running that curl, Popovich. That's just great ball movement and a beautiful pass there from Chapman to Popovich.
And it's the motion. That motion offense that Jim Christian has them running is that they keep those defenders on their heels. You see great penetration by Chapman and a dump off of Popovich.
Adele. Huge size advantage there as he posts up the smaller guard. Bowman couldn't get it to fall. And another turnover. Length of the floor for a chippy for Adele.
And those are the things that drive coaches mad. As you see Jim Christian calling the timeout. Want to be able to slow down this momentum right now. Louisville doing a really good job. 41-33. And we're back, and we're talking about starting the second half off right. And Louisville's come out very aggressive on defense, and this defense has allowed them to go on their run. And we talked about how their length can create offensive opportunities. And this is one of the things that they do. They want to play really good defense, get those deflections, and get out. And you see this last time, Daniel Dale being able to finish. Louisville starting the half with a 10-4 run. If you're Jim Christian, you definitely want to slow that down. That was one of our keys for Boston College, is to be able to withstand those many runs.
And they've got so many that they can turn to. You see, Mahmoud that's on the bench right now, he offers part of those interchangeable parts along the low block, the same kind of length that, say, a Daniel Dell might, or Malik Williams as well. Robinson gives it up to Popovich. He really wasn't ready for that pass and threw up really an ill-advised jump hook. Williams off the front iron, pulled down by Mitchell. Not quite 4 minutes gone by here in the second. Boston College has turned it over quite a bit. Louisville has gone to their largest lead of 8, trying to get it into double digits for the very first time.
Chapman's the guy that they've got to establish. They need some offense from him. You see Daniel Adele get up, knock down that three. And for a scorer like Adele, once you get a couple of knockdowns, he's a guy that can actually get hot really fast. See him open up the second half with those 2 threes and then being able to get the easy transition basket.
And another steal. This time it's King. It's getting away from BC now. They need an answer, and fast.
Well, Tim, what Boston College has to do, they've got to value their possessions a little better right now. They're making lazy passes, and a team like Louisville with their length, we talk about them deflecting. As this crowd gets into it, you got to do a better job of taking care of the ball.
That one was forced by Bowman. The open gates of Louisville at work. Snyder leaves it for Spalding. Out of bounds, last touch by BC. Louisville at it, we come back. It has been all cards, and they've been dealing with defense, turning into offense. Bring it up for Dang Adele. And Malik Williams and DJ King getting it done. You know, the interim tag was leveled to this head coach, David Padgett, when he took over back on September the 29th amid those FBI investigations. One of the smartest moves he could have made was getting Trent Johnson, a 2-time head coach recently at both LSU and then TCU,
And then he got Greg Paulus, who had been on Thad Matta's staff at Ohio State. And I think that to be this young and be that smart to bring in a guy with as much head coaching experience as Trent had, he did a marvelous job at Nevada, which of course is a state that Padgett knows all too well about, goes a long, long way in helping determine the strength of a young coach. And I'm just going to say it now. I think it's time, based on the performance that he's delivered as a head coach. You see Paulus and Trent Johnson right there, and the able staff members that are part of this, along with R.J. Evans. I think it's time that a vote of confidence be given to this guy so that he can move forward and recruit for the future of Louisville basketball.
And, Tim, I couldn't agree with you more, because as you see, Robinson knocked down that shot for the animal. You know, for this program to have the cloud of uncertainty that it had at the beginning of the year, for them to be able to do what they're doing, as you see Robinson come down, and he has been the guy that's been able to get his own shot and knock that down going to the three. And that hopefully slows down this mini run by Louisville. But to go back to David Padgett, to be able to surround yourself by great minds allows you to be able to do what he's been able to do. And they put themselves in a position where they're right there at the top of the tier.
Absolutely.
And arguably one of the best conferences in the country.
No doubt about it. He knew he wanted somebody that was an experienced hand and been a head coach before. And, you know, a lot of times the egos of young coaches won't allow for that. And the ability to understand that maybe having a guy that's been there and done that a couple of times and not in the best scenarios himself says a lot about the young coach. It'll go the other way, out of bounds. Louisville will have it. Yet another unforced error, really, for Boston College. He told me when we met earlier today before the game, David, he said, it was the first call I made. And he asked Trent, what do you think? He says, well, no one's done what you're about to do. You know, get the job as late as you've gotten it. 2 days before practice is set to begin, and you're taking over for a Hall of Fame coach. Just go about it as best you can. And David said, I was just glad that the guy was available. I was glad that both he and Paulus were out of work, and I could get two quality guys like that to come in.
Well, and imagine the pressure that goes along with taking that type of position. As you see, both coaches were something that added a lot of different type of mindset.
Absolutely.
And he had enough humility to bring those guys in and understanding that, hey, there are still a lot of expectations with this Louisville program. We talked about all of the different people who have come through this program, and for him to be able to take that. And then let's be honest, they took some lumps earlier in the season, but they're playing their best basketball right now as one of the better teams.
You know, it's interesting. He said after the Kentucky game, he said, if we had won that game based on the way things were going, I'm not sure we wouldn't be 2-3 in the ACC right now. Our team responded after that loss to Kentucky in a way that even surprised me a little.
Well, the thing is, too, is he's got the players to buy in to what he's selling right now, and that's one of the biggest things, especially for a coach to take the reins the way he did.
There's a reach-in foul that goes against V.J. King. That's number 2 on V.J. Lead is up to 12. BC looking to make a little bit of a run here themselves. We were stunned by a 7-love run to open this half by Louisville. And there's a good way of getting started with it. Bowman off the inbound.
And Tim, one of the things I was going to say is Jerome Robinson has been the majority of the offense for Boston College. He's going to need some help. Either Kai Bowman or Jordan Chapman's got to step up right now for them to be able to chop into this lead, because Louisville has been able to get what they want in the second half.
Adele with an open baseline, and he's fouled. Well, that's all really Luka Krautrovic could do. Otherwise, it's a thunderous dunk, and the building is jumping.
Well, that's one of the things we talked about, Adele, and the 25-plus NBA scouts are here to see a lot of guys, and one of them being Adele, and the fact that he is a guy that can shoot it, can put the ball on the floor, and has tremendous athleticism to finish around the rim. And that's one of the things that's made Louisville such a really good team, because of their length and the fact that they can get out and run after those deflections and finish at the end of the rim.
Well, we talked about Bowman and Robinson needing help. At this stage, they've only gotten 12 points from the rest of the team.
We talked about adjustments coming out of the half, and you couldn't expect Louisville to not go well. As you see Chapman with a nice finish. Love the pass ahead by Bowman. Caught Louisville sleeping in transition, and maybe this will get Jordan Chapman going, because he's that guy that they need to go. And you see right now, attacking the rim, being able to absorb that contact. Chapman's one of those guys that can get warm fast, and hopefully this will get him going.
That's the third foul on Spalding, and Anas Mahmoud will have to come in for him after he picks up the third. But again, it's those interchangeable parts. You get a 7-footer in from Cairo, Egypt, to take the place of the 6'10 Spalding. 48-41, just over 7 minutes gone by here in the second half. McMahon also on the floor for Louisville. And that straight line drive is a little bit short for Dwayne Sutton, and it's out of bounds to BC.
And that's what Boston College needs. They need to get some stops, get a few buckets to flow to be able to get back into this lead, change that momentum, because at one time it was Louisville getting out in the break. You see Louisville faithful trying to cheer them on.
Now, the uglier it gets, the better it is for BC. No question about that. Force Louisville to dig into that clock and play against the shot clock. Popovich, strong move. And a quick timeout taken by the young head coach of the Cardinals, David Padgett. That lead of a dozen has been carved to 5 with 12:16 remaining here at the You're watching the ACC Network. It's an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. It's our Bojangles fan of the game. I think the youngsters, we can go plural here, but I start them young in Louisville and all through the great state of Kentucky. College basketball's always been happening here. By the way, in the past I've been on hand and we've had some tremendous celebrities from basketball's past. We actually got some celebrities from football's past on hand here today for the Louisville game. Here's King with the mismatch, taking it right to the rack against Popovich.
Great ball movement that was set up by Ryan McMahon, being able to penetrate. Love the fact that they were able to get that out, and you see great finish at the basket by VJ King.
Popovich, no double coming. Unfortunate for him, that little jump hook was halfway down the cylinder and out.
Popovich's got to finish those, because what they're doing, a lot of switching, and that's putting him in the post against some smaller guys. He's got to take one more dribble and be able to finish that.
Adele dropping it off on the wing. And another 3-ball for King. Well, excellent work out of the timeout for David Padgett's team, which is what any coach wants to see.
And Louisville comes at you in waves. You see the penetration to be able to get guys going. 1 minute is Dang, and the last couple of baskets come from VJ King.
Robinson can't hit. Those need to fall for BC when they're on the road in the ACC. They're going to have any chance. Adele. That's too easy. And the lead is pegged to a dozen, equaling the largest of the afternoon.
Well, before we went to break, we saw BC be able to come back and kind of stop that little run, but Louisville came from the break, starting another run. BC needs to score right now, because this is a game that if they don't, to get away from them fast.
Another 7-0 spurt. Popovich left free, not connecting there, out of bounds to Louisville.
Well, Tim, one of the things we talked about with Louisville is the fact that they can do so many different things. And you see the penetration and the finish by VJ King leads to him being able to get another open shot. And this is the guy that, again, they've got a lot of different weapons when they share the ball. And then you see Adele come down. And you look at the players that they have. We always talk about the length of Louisville, but they've got guys that not only can shoot the ball, but can create their own shot and get and finish at the rim.
I was very impressed with what they did on the road against Notre Dame. King off the back rim. You know, that's a tough team to beat on the road. They've got a high basketball IQ. They make you play their way, not your way. And for them to get that road win really caught my eye. And Boston College has done about all they could to create the tempo they want. But Louisville has, I think, shown the ability to beat you any way possible.
Well, if you break down their team, they've got great point guard play in Snyder. Then they've got good shooting in McMahon and in Adele. If you see a nice shot to be able to finish that. length around the basket, and this is a team that creates offense from their defense. I mean, that's a good transcript for success.
And another timeout taken by Jim Christian. They're on their feet here in Cardinals country. Outstanding defense leading to offense.
Well, you see Louisville and the fact that they get those deflections. And once they get that, they get out and get going. And they've got so many guys that could go. You see this last time, Dang Adele with a nice spin, shooting over the defense, creating his own shot. Louisville has been able to get out on another one of those runs that we talk about. And they score in bunches, and that's widened this lead to 14.
You think of what they've got going here, and yeah, there are a lot of scouts on hand to look about where some of these guys might fit at the next level, but I think that underscores yet again, as you look at our game summary, you know, the turnover story is certainly significant because it's led to some easy baskets the other way. That underscores, for me anyway, the need to go ahead and give that vote of confidence to this current staff so that they can move forward, because you know, if you lose a recruiting season in this league, you'll be exposed soon after.
Well, and you talk about that Louisville's got that deep bench and getting guys to buy into the defensive philosophy, shared minutes.
Yeah.
And that takes an awful lot. And David Patch has been able to get these guys to buy into what they're selling right now. And again, it's shown on the floor where they're sharing the ball. And again, this is a team that plays really well and plays well together.
Robinson and Bowman need to warm up. Not many attempts of late. Almost a steal there. John Carlos Reyes was able to salvage it for Boston College to keep this opportunity alive for them. That was a tough take for Robinson. On the other end, McMahon. Just off the heel, he's 0 for 3 from downtown, and Sutton will get an over-the-back foul for Louisville.
Well, we always talk about the shot blocking ability of Louisville, but how many shots do you see Mahmoud and Spalding change at the rim? Because the degree of difficulty for the BC guards has created an issue for them in the second half. Earlier in the first half, you saw Robinson being able to turn the corner and get those finishes. He hasn't been that fortunate in the second half because Mahmoud has been able to make him make those adjustments.
Robinson, beautiful pass inside. And Popovich knew what to do with that one.
Well, Tim, that's what I'm talking about. The switch around, you're drawing Mahmoud away from the rim, and you've got to have Popovich that's going to have a guard on him, get that pass and be able to finish, because that makes an adjustment, and that allows him to get back into this game.
McMahon again. Boy, he's just been in tough luck. On target, but either a little long, that time a little short. Chapman from downtown. McMahon was able to get a hand in there and tap it out. Adele leaves it for him. One more time for 3. The 5th time was a charm.
And you see the relief behind the hand. And we talked about it. That's what he's out there for. And he's not going to shoot any layup, folks. He's going to run right to that three-point line and camp out. And he's been given that green light to launch it whenever he gets it.
Yeah, our old friend Dick Vitale helped get Patino to bring him in. There's a quick answer from Robinson. He was seen by Dick playing in high school in Sarasota. And said, hey, you really need to. I can only imagine what that phone call sounded like.
You gotta believe in him. He can shoot the lights out, baby.
Nora, who had 11 off the bench in the first half, comes up empty, and a foul goes against Bowman. Timeout. The lead a baker's dozen for Louisville, and we'll return after this word from your local station. 60-47, the largest lead of the day belonging to Louisville, and our performance of the game is brought to you by your local Chevy dealers, and right now it's Dang Adele.
And Dang Adele came into the second half, caught fire early, being able to get some easy opportunities, and that kind of allowed him to get that jump shot to going, and he's been instant offense in the second half for David Patch's bunch, allowing them to be able to expand this lead. He is the guy that's come out and been very aggressive and very efficient. And he has been the Chevy performance of the game.
And we've got some perspiration, I think, that needs to be wiped up along the floor. Tim Clockerty noticed it, so we stopped the clock and inbound it all over again.
So, Tim, less than 7 minutes to go. If you're Boston College, obviously you've got to get some stops. Louisville has been able to get what they wanted, but you got to get some stops, and you got to be able to knock down some shots. And Louisville's done a really good job of stifling them from three-point today as well.
Wow, what a skip pass that was. Snyder uses the window. Boy, McMahon's skip pass looked dangerous at the time, but it was beautiful and led to that bucket, 62-47. Largest lead of the day. Louisville only led by 2 at the break. Opened with a 9-0 run to start the second, and they have not looked back. Boston College has not returned the favor as yet with a run of their own. Shot clock down to 2. Robinson's got to put it up over McMahon. Not there. Nice work on the offensive glass. Look at that play by Spalding. And Popovich turned it over. Christian can't believe there was no foul there. He thought there was plenty of body to go along with the rejection as he appeals to Tim Clockerty.
You see the length. Spalding being able to go up and get that. That's 7+ foot wingspan.
I think Jim was just saying, hey, come on. Give me a little break here from time to time. Nice steal by Robinson. You know, so much is expected of these guards. I think he's a little gimpy now. He had come down gingerly on his ankle or knee. He's checking it now, giving it up to Bowman. After he came away with that steal, might have had a knee-on-knee collision. Bowman right to the rack, not there. Let's see how Robinson gets back. Gingerly. This is not good. Gets the slam.
And that's one of the things you see Robinson.
Yeah, he needs to come out.
He's hobbled.
Yeah, he needs to get out of the game.
It looks like that's a hamstring.
Yeah, it does. You're right. He's holding his thigh. So it could be a hamstring problem. Take a look at this sequence as it happened. And right now they would be happy with just a hamstring issue.
Yeah, you see right now he came up hobbled.
Yeah, right there. My guess is that you're absolutely accurate. Is it more of a hamstring problem? Which is actually good news in the big picture. Bowman. They have to play so many minutes, too. There are times ball out of bounds off of Boston College. Those guards have to play so many minutes that a lot of times in the second half you'll notice their shots come up a little short. Fatigue does play a role.
Well, the game plan for Louisville early was to make sure that they're switching those pick and rolls with their big guys, and I think that switching their bigs has created a problem for Boston College because let's not forget this is a team that's leading the ACC in three-point field goals made, and their guards never really got that going.
Bowman's got a different gear from time to time. He was rejected there, but he does have a different gear. Foul is on Snyder. We got a lot of leather to go along with it. It was the 16th foul. Boston College needs one more personal foul before they get to shoot 1-and-1.
You see Daniel Dale meeting Bowman at the rim.
Yeah.
Looking his best Dikembe. Not in my house.
And Nora will pick up that 17th foul. His second. They're working on that hamstring of Jerome Robinson. While we have a break, we mentioned it at halftime in our ACC News and Notes that Dante Grantham of Clemson had injured himself yesterday. And really bad news for Brad Brownell. The reports now are out there and have been made public. A torn ACL, which means he's gone for the remainder of the year.
And that's a huge blow for that Clemson Tiger team because they were my bet for the team that really surprised a lot of people because they've had that early start. He's a guy that does a lot for that team, not only offensive but defense. Interesting to see how they're going to be able to rebound from that.
By the way, bit of news came straight from Tim Beret, the longtime sports information guru at Clemson, and works on their radio telecasts as well, so there's no better authority on everything Clemson. That was a over and back miscommunication between Snyder and Adele, and a turnover. It'll go the other way. But you know, it just tells you in today's college basketball how fragile it can be. You can be having a whale of a year, and Clemson was, lose a player, just a player, and it changes everything. Bonzie Colson for Notre Dame. I mean, to Bray's credit and Notre Dame's, they're capable of playing without him, but those are huge losses for anyone. Adele, count it, and a foul.
How about that finish by Dang Adele? You see him finish this. Louisville fans on their feet right now.
Stephon Mitchell got the foul.
Dang Adele being able to get to the basket for the and one, expanding that lead. Louisville on top.
Look at the nation's top 25, brought to you by the Honda dealers of the Carolinas. Touched on that injury to Grantham, and that's going to impact Clemson's ability to stay in this top 25. Miami, Carolina, Duke, and Virginia all right there. And Dang Adele, by the way, his line at halftime was no points, no rebounds, 2 personal fouls. He's now at 16, 9, and 5. 16 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. That's all in the second half.
Well, Tim, the way they play, they get a lot of opportunities from their defense. And he's a guy that doesn't have to have a lot of plays called for him. You saw him get some easy transition baskets. He was the recipient of some catch and shoot opportunities. And so he knocked down some good shots.
With your Boston College, you have got to make shots from the perimeter against a team like Louisville, and they have just gone stone cold in the second. But to Louisville's credit, their defense has had a lot to do with that.
Well, and I think it's been easier said than done. You see Spalding not being able to finish that. They've got athletic bigs that can switch out, and with their length have given Boston College a lot of problems to be able to get those threes up.
Ben Baker Jr. can't come up with one. That's his first attempt. And he's gotten some appreciable playing time. As I said, the sky's the limit for this kid as he gets stronger, bigger, and older. Nora on a dribble drive, and that freshman, who was so hot in the first half, is looking to get his first points of the second. But he was the difference in the first half when he came in off the bench to ignite Louisville.
And you're right, Louisville had issues with that zone for Boston College, and he was the guy that came in and gave them a look. You see, Baker Jr. go for that rebound.
Yeah, he went high. You can see those flashes of brilliance in his game. Foul goes against Adele, his third. And Robinson's going to get back out there with that tough hamstring to replace Bowman. And Malik Williams is set to check in. He's got a career high today with 10, and he comes in. As you see, Spalding and Adele both leading the floor. Crowd responds.
So obviously, it's a good thing I'm sitting here next to you, but if I'm Jim Christian, I don't know if I put Jerome Robinson, my leading scorer, back in with a possible hammy issue, because, again, that's one of those things that could go from bad to worse.
Yep.
And you're looking at, hey, what are we going to achieve in this next 247?
Right.
And they've proven that they're a team that could beat anyone at a given time. Tonight was not their night.
My defense of that maneuver would be, or my counter to your thought would be that Bowman needed a break. You know, I mean, he's had to play a ton of minutes as well. And who else are you going to put in there? Darius Perry couldn't get that one to go. That's the freshman from Powder Springs, Georgia, just into the game. Popovich again, boy, just nothing easy. No unabated opportunity for dunks for Popovich or Kraujovic during the course of this game.
And as my wife will tell you, that I'm always probably never right about anything, so I stand corrected. That last penetration by Jerome Robinson showed that actually he's doing a lot better than I imagined, being able to get to the lane for that drop off to Popovich.
Or as my wife might tell you, creative tension in the home place is not always a bad thing.
You've been at it a lot longer than I have. I'm still trying to work on that happy wife, happy life.
That creative tension, both on the air and at home, can sometimes be a good thing. 67-53. There's a quick double team. Chapman in there along, and they get the tie ball. The arrow is to Louisville. Give this to BC as a team. It was true against Florida State. I noticed it when they were being blown out against North Carolina. They play hard. They don't have depth, but their guys, they never give up.
Well, you talk about teams taking on the personality of their coach. And obviously Jim Christian, he's one of those guys that came in and he took his lumps in the first couple of years.
Sure did.
And he's definitely got this program in a position where they've got a chance to do some really good things. We talk about outside of this game being 3-3 and arguably one of the best conferences in the league. Is not an easy feat.
And there's a 3 ball that falls at long last for Stephon Mitchell. And the lead shrinks to 11 points with 1:45 and counting.
We've seen crazier things happen in this game, especially with a team that shoots the 3 as well as Boston College does.
Look at that trap. It's led to some turnovers, and this young Louisville team has done just that. Ben Baker Jr. not there. Popovich with the rebound. Feeds Robinson, and he drains the 3 just like that. It's an 8-point game. An 8-point game. What a run for Boston College.
Well, we talked about it, and the fact that, you wanted to put a nail in the coffin, but BC has been able to come out and get some stops and knock down some shots. They've struggled from behind the 3-point line all evening. Popovich gave them a chance for a 3. 123. Again, we've seen stranger things happen this game of basketball.
They just had a 10-0 run over the last minute 24. And then we got a minute 23 left. You can equal that maybe by a second. Well, and then suddenly we got an incredible game here.
And you see Kai Bowman checking back into the game. And if you're David Padgett, you tell your guys, hey, don't let go of the rope. This is something that we have to make sure that we see this thing through because, again, Boston College, they're one of those teams, one of the tops in the ACC at knocking down 3s.
I mentioned David's history in Nevada. The son of Pete Padgett, a Nevada high school coach who starred at Nevada. And he actually played for Kansas for a year before transferring to Louisville, where he started for 3 years, and his 61% career field goal percentage is second in Louisville history. He needs his team to respond from the floor and get a bucket here. Not this time, and yet another opportunity for BC. Numbers. Chapman giving it up to Popovich. A bucket here would be huge for BC. Great pass to Chapman. Popovich with a remarkable pass. Popovich with a remarkable dish out. It's a 5-point game. Adele draws the contact and will get to the line.
So if you're Louisville, there's no need to rush. If you're Daniel Adele, once you get the ball over half court, you stop. But going back to that play, how about this sequence of events and the pass from Popovich to Chapman?
Goodness.
Great recognition because most guys in a hurry get the ball there and they think about shooting it.
This is one of their really great comebacks, regardless of whether Boston College gets the victory or sends it to overtime. This is one of the best ones I've seen all year.
Well, if you're Jim Christian, obviously you push for this win, but these are those teachable moments that you show in game film to your guys that, hey, we didn't quit, and this is how we were able to get back into the game. Again, going back to David Padgett, you tell your guys, hey, we want the clock is our friend. Even if they score, we get it. We want to run some clock. We don't want to rush to the basket, and as you see Daniel Adele not being able to capitalize on that 2 shot.
All right. That 1 point into the 13-0 run. And we got another block. And with the free throw shooting opportunities coming BC's way, they can continue to move in on this Cardinals lead.
And one thing that this does for BC also, Tim, is that it gives an opportunity to put points on the board and the clock stops. It allows them to set up their defense, get into that trap, and then you start thinking about Louisville is not one of the best free throw shooting teams in the conference as well.
Each team with a timeout remaining. This run now is up to 14-1 after that free throw. McMahon checking back into the game. A little offense for defense as Sutton leaves. It's going to be a 2-possession game with 50 seconds left.
Well,
I mean, 4 minutes ago, did we see this?
Not at all.
And a quick foul given up. Looking to extend the game, Bowman commits against Snyder. I don't know that that's the guy that they wanted to commit the foul. Bowman picks up the personal, and that's his fourth. I think they would have preferred another Eagle pick up that foul rather than Kai Bowman.
Well, you don't want to put Quentin Snyder on the free throw line. There's a guy shooting 20 for 23 in ACC play for 87%.
Well, we see our game reset. Each team can stop the clock one more time. BC needs something quick, and then a steal. That's quick.
Oh my, what a finish.
How quick is that?
That was pretty quick.
Bowman is like a human blur when he gets rolling with the ball. That trap leads to a foul.
You see Jim Critchlin over there asking for the foul. We talk about needing a quick basket. How about Kai Bowman with the finish? That looked like Tim Brando quick back in the days at the Y.
In a talk-off, maybe. Well, you saw the trap. It was a pretty good one. Christian really wanted to get the turnover there. But again, you stop the clock, you extend the game. This has been orchestrated beautifully by his team, and their use of time and fouling. They've given up only 2 of 4 free throw opportunities. The math is working in BC's favor right now. Bowman again is rejected, this time by Mahmoud, but he recovers. Chapman for 3.
Oh my! Oh my!
It's a 2-point game with 32 seconds left. King is trapped again. They need help. And another foul committed. Just a little too physical with that trap. And it's Bowman that gets the foul. And that's his 5th.
Well, you see the penetration by Bowman. And if you're Quentin Snyder, you can't lose Jordan Chapman. He's one of the better three-point shooters. If anything, you want a 2-point basket, but not a 3. Boston College definitely in it.
28.7 left, 71-69. Probably the only unfortunate thing about that sequence was that Bowman had to give himself up and commit a 5th foul. But what a remarkable comeback by this BC team. With 3:57 left, it was an 18-point Louisville lead. And it looked like it was dead and buried for BC. I mean, they didn't look as if they had anything left in them. But again, they just continued to play their game. Some shots started to fall. Louisville got a little lackadaisical with the ball. And then now you see what we've got. This game is very much in doubt.
And we talked about for a team like Boston College that shoot the ball as well as they do, and you've got guys that can get their own shot, being Kai Bowman. That allowed them to be able to get it back into this game.
All right, it's up to Robinson now with Bowman out. He will orchestrate. He's trapped in the corner. There's Chapman again. That one goes off the front iron. And it's going to be out of bounds off BC. McMahon will check back in. 15.3 left. And a quick timeout. Cardinals will take it, or they're going to look at the replay. I bet because you should, with less than 2 minutes left, the opportunity to see who touched it last is there. And by rule, they have to do this.
Well, my first guess would say is off of Jerome Robinson. You see ball deflected off of his hand. Don't think that Quentin Snyder got a chance to get a hand on it.
One of the best in the business right down there on it. Armstrong. Clearly that was touched.
And one more time after Robinson.
Yeah, I thought Robinson got it too. See if the ball changes direction here. There's the first touch. And the second touch. They definitely changed direction off Robinson. I think they got it right. Again, a Herculean effort by BC to close this to 2 from an 18-point deficit. with a little over 3.5 left.
Well, and again, they were able to get some stops and then get some shots to fall. Hurt them that they lost Kai Bowman, but right now, again, if you're Boston College, first opportunity to go for the steal, and if not, immediate foul.
Adele will trigger it in, and they get the foul right away on Baker. I know he did not want to commit that foul, but he was tagged by Clarence Armstrong. Got a little too physical with McMahon. It's a sharpshooter, not the guy you wanted to foul.
McMahon, not a guy that normally goes to the free throw line 2 for 2. The conference play.
I think Jim Christian is questioning who's at the free throw line. Who was the foul committed on? He's asking Michael Stevens for that. And I think he's giving him a warning now. Well, if nothing else, he got a chance to ice McMahon, who still was able to put it down. You're right, he doesn't get to the line often, but this is what he's on the squad for, to knock down shots. Calmly, the kid from Sarasota, Florida, knocks it down. 4-point game. Robinson needs it quickly. For 3. Not there. Clock winding down, out of bounds to Louisville. And that should do it. And Jim is still barking at Michael Stevens.
Well, it's definitely one that went down to the wire. Again, a great game. See, Robinson still seems like he's a little hobbled on that leg.
Well, they can take some. There are no moral victories once you're into conference play, but again, you have to be impressed with the way Boston College hung tough while outmanned, clearly, by a longer and deeper Louisville team today. But the Cardinals, here's the news on them. They're 5-1 in the league, and they're going to move to 15-4 overall.
And I saw them play earlier in the year when they had a loss to Seton Hall, and totally a different team. They had no McMahon,
right.
and obviously the more you get it, the further you get into conference play, you get those younger guys more experience, allows them to get a better feel for the game.
Well, Brian, I've really enjoyed it. Our first time together. You got all the tools, my man.
I appreciate you carrying me, Jeff.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Geico, saving people money for over 75 years. By Food Lion, raising standards without raising prices. How refreshing. And by your local Chevy dealers.
A great time in Louisville today. The Cardinals hold on, and for Brian Oliver, Tim Brando saying so long. Our next telecast Tuesday as we see the Blue Devils and Wake Forest go at it. You've been watching coverage of the Atlantic Coast Conference right here on the ACC Network. It's an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. So long from Louisville.